Properly done, nothing beats the power of television or video ads to persuade, move, inflame, motivate, cajole, or convince a voter to support you on Election Day. A voter need not make an effort to hear or see your spot. All they have to do is sit in front of a TV or computer screen. Unlike radio, television allows you to use pictures and footage to help carry the message. Unlike mail, voters don't have to read any words. Unlike a website, voters don't have to click a URL to find you or make any effort to learn something about you. Those who were here on the day that President Kennedy was assassinated, or when planes hit the World Trade Center, will never forget what they saw or where they were. That says all that needs to be said about the power of pictures and footage to trigger human emotion. 3 basic tips about television commercials. 1. Before you produce one, research the rules. What disclaimer is required? Must you use certain words to comply with the law? Where must the disclaimer appear in the spot? And how large must the font be? Does the law require that your picture be in the spot? Are you required to talk in the commercial? If you don't comply with the rules, the TV stations will not air your spot. Number 2, decide what you want to say and write your script. Do that first. Repeat. Write the script first, then decide what pictures or footage you are going to use to help carry your words. A good script will survive bad footage. The best footage in the world will not save a bad script. Number 3, if you're doing a spot to air on YouTube, you will not be under the same time constraint, but you still have to comply with disclaimer requirements in your jurisdiction. As you write your script, remember this. The purpose of your spot is to inform and entertain. Voters hate spots that don't say anything. As you decide what visuals and sounds to use in your spot, remember that what is most important is not what they mean to you. It's what that footage and pictures and sounds and symbols trigger inside the head of the viewer. If your spots are irrelevant to the viewer, you will be irrelevant to voters. Broadly speaking, there are 5 different types of political spots: biographical, values, issues, negative or contrast spots, and response ads. Some examples of each. Biographical spots. If you are a first-time candidate unknown to the electorate, you will need to tell voters who you are, and usually candidates do bio spots before they do anything else. These spots tell voters that you have done something significant in your life, that you have your feet on the ground, and that you have some qualifications for the job.
Raised in rural Fort Stockton, Clayton Williams learned early the importance of hard work and strong family values. After college in the U.S. Army, he would waste no time in his pursuit of the American dream. Oil and natural gas, farming, ranching, high-tech telecommunications, Clayton Williams would become a Texas legend. Founder of 26 companies, he has created 100,000 jobs in 50 cities and towns. Clayton Williams, he'll make Texas great again.
In this spot, you learned that Williams was a Texas native, Army veteran, father, husband, college graduate, business owner, successful entrepreneur, job creator, deeply familiar with the growth industries in Texas. A great resume for someone running for governor. When writing the script of your bio spot, ask yourself some questions. What about your background makes you qualified to do the job? What about your background qualifies you to make decisions about how people live or make a living or raise their families? If you're an incumbent, tell people what you've accomplished or done to earn another term. Value spots. Voters need to know something about your core convictions, your fundamental beliefs, and what is important to you. Your job is to let them know that your values and moral convictions are in sync with theirs.
Sometimes it takes a farmer to understand what it means to be one. I think you have to be a farmer to really appreciate what Jim Jeffords has done, like the Farmland Protection Act and the Dairy Promotion Program. Jim wrote those laws and he got them passed. That's one of the reasons I'm still farming and the reason my family's farming with me. That ought to mean a lot to anybody who cares about the family farm.
Jim Jeffords for U.S. Senator. It's a job you have to earn.
Vermont is a rural state with a lot of dairy farmers. In this spot, you learn what Jeffords had done to help them, the Farmland Protection Program, the Dairy Promotion Program, and how that had helped farmers stay in business. There's a strong visual message in the footage associating Jeffords with a hard-working farm family. Note the slogan. Jeffords was popular and had served as Attorney General and a congressman. He was opposed by a Vermont newcomer who had never held public office. Thus the slogan, "It's a job you have to earn." When you write a spot about your core convictions, look at things you have in common with the people you want to represent. Common concerns, common interest, common moral principles or core beliefs. Letting them know that you do is your way of letting them know they can trust your judgment to make decisions on their behalf. Issue positioning. An issue positioning spot is one where you stake your ground on an issue important to you, important to the electorate, and tell voters what you're going to do to fix the problem.
If we're really going to win this war on drugs, we've got to attack it on all fronts. I'd start early. Beginning in kindergarten, I'd teach the 3 Ds. Don't do drugs. Teenagers smoking marijuana, I'll take away their driver's license. And if they keep doing drugs, I'll put them in a boot camp. Military discipline, drug counseling, and I'll introduce them to the joys of busting rocks. Somebody tells you we can't win this war, you tell them they hadn't met Clayton Williams.
What voters learned in the spot is that Williams was deeply committed to solving a drug abuse problem in Texas, that he had a 3-point program to do that, including early education, penalties for teenage drug abuse, and tough love for drug abusers. The spot also put the candidate's sassy personality on display, his grit and determination. When deciding what kind of issue spots you should do, the first question to ask is this: is it something you feel passionately about? Is it something important to the coalition of people who are your likely voters? Can you give voters some specifics on what you'll do to fix the problem? Negative ads. Negative ads are perfectly appropriate if you are fair, legitimate, relevant, and accurate. And I mean dead-on accurate. They are most effective when you supply information to voters that they don't know at the outset of a campaign. Information that undermines your opponent's credentials, qualifications, credibility, or character. If you're going to do them, be prepared to prove, document, and validate everything you say. If it takes more than one spot to say what you need to say, there is no rule that says you can't turn your broadside into a series of spots.
It's 1992. Desperate for campaign cash, Maurice Hinchey turns to longtime friend Michael Zenn. Advised by Hinchey's lawyer, Zenn gives corporate bonuses to employees, who in turn give Hinchey $27,000. Zenn's corporate vendors kick in thousands more. Zenn was later jailed for these illegal contributions. An energy company fined $200,000. And Maurice Hinchey? He says he never knew. What do you think? Remember Michael Zenn, the CEO who went to jail for illegal contributions to Maurice Hinchey? Now we learn Michael Zenn owned an airport, a private airport that received $1.5 million of your tax money. Grants that were secured by Congressman Maurice Hinchey after Zenn directed more than $60,000 to Hinchey's campaign. Hinchey says there was no connection between the airport grants and the illegal cash. What do you think? An energy company is fined. Michael Zenn sentenced to federal prison, both for illegal contributions to Maurice Hinchey. Hinchey's lawyer tried to hide the truth, but when the truth was exposed, Hinchey then promised to return every single dime of the illegal cash. Congressman Hinchey has now had 18 months to keep his promise. He hasn't. He didn't.
These 3 commercials were run in sequence over a 3-week period, and they told the story of a candidate who broke the rules to raise campaign cash, used taxpayers' money to reward those who made illegal campaign contributions, then broke his promise to return the illegal cash after he was caught. Note the use of questions posed at the end of the first 2 spots, which invite viewers to come to their own conclusions about the character of the candidate. Note the use of newspaper clips to document the attack. When you write a negative spot, look for ways to prove what you're saying. Newspaper clips, quotes, or footage. And respect the voter. Just give them the facts. Voters know how to think, and they don't need you to do their thinking for them. And if you telegraph to the viewer that they're supposed to hate your opponent without first telling them why, they'll tune you out. Response ads. Those are the ads you do when you've been attacked. The secret of an effective response ad? Answer the charge, then kick back in a way that puts your opponent on the defensive or shames them for what they have done. If you can use a little humor, all the better.
You know, Jim Jeffords has held public office for nearly 20 years, and some of us have known him for most of our lives. Now comes this Bill Gray, whoever he is, telling us that all these years Jim Jeffords has been selling his votes. Well, that's not true, and Bill Gray knows it. Guess even in Vermont, some people will say anything to get elected. I may not know everything, but I sure know where that kind of stuff belongs.
This spot capitalized on the goodwill that voters had toward Jim Jeffords and used a working dairy farmer to rebut the charge that Jeffords was dishonest. It also ridiculed the charge leveled by the person who made it, painting him as an untrustworthy person willing to say anything to win votes. Television and video are the most powerful tools in your advertising arsenal. Lots of candidates waste money on TV spots. Usually the mistake is the way they're written, and usually the problem is a candidate trying to make too many points in one spot. Before you write your spot, decide what idea, message, or thought you want to convey. Make one point well, and your spot will serve you well.